In a world where tradition and modernity increasingly collide, the Catholic Church stands at a unique crossroads. With over 1.3 billion followers, the Church remains one of the most influential spiritual and institutional forces in the world. But what lies ahead for this ancient faith in an era defined by global crises, rapid technological advancement, and cultural shifts? Today, we invite you to take a journey into the future, a speculative, thoughtful exploration of what the next papal era might look like under a hypothetical pontiff, Pope Leo XIV. Though the name Leo XIV has not yet graced the annals of history, the idea of such a pope invites us to imagine not only a new leader of the Catholic Church, but a new chapter in its evolving story. The name Leo itself carries with it a legacy of strength and reform. Pope Leo XIV, the last pontiff to bear the name, is remembered for his forward-thinking encyclicals, his efforts to reconcile faith and reason, and his vision of a church that could engage with the modern world while preserving its core identity. So what would a future Pope Leo XIV represent? What values might he champion? How would he confront the daunting challenges that await the next leader of the global church? Let us first consider the cultural and spiritual landscape into which Leo XIV would step. In recent decades, the Church has grappled with declining attendance in the West, growing secularism, and widespread questions about its role in the lives of everyday believers. At the same time, the Church has experienced dramatic growth in the Global South, particularly in Africa, Latin America, and parts of Asia, regions that now supply many of the world's seminarians and bishops. A Pope Leo XIV, elected from one of these regions, would bring a fresh voice to Rome, one grounded in the lived experience of a rapidly changing world. Imagine Leo XIV as a bridge builder, someone deeply rooted in Catholic tradition, yet unafraid to engage in meaningful dialogue with science, culture, and technology. Under his leadership, the Vatican might take unprecedented steps toward environmental justice, building on the legacy of Laudato Si and pushing for stronger global commitments to climate action. Leo XIV could become a papal figurehead for ecological conversion, not just preaching from the pulpit, but working hand in hand with activists, scientists, and indigenous communities to protect the planet. In terms of social justice, Leo XIV might embrace a radically inclusive vision of the Church, reaching out to the marginalized with new urgency and sincerity. Under his papacy, the Vatican could take bolder stances on migration, economic inequality, and the rights of minorities. He might amplify the Church's preferential option for the poor, not just in words, but through concrete reform, reallocation of church assets, expansion of humanitarian missions, and an overhaul of institutional structures that have long favored wealth and hierarchy. The future Pope Leo XIV might also approach the complex topic of gender and sexuality with unprecedented openness, choosing not to rewrite doctrine, but to reframe the conversation. He could convene global synods that give a voice to lay people, especially women, allowing them to contribute meaningfully to decision-making processes within the Church. We might see increased participation of women in leadership roles within the Vatican Curia and a more pastoral approach to the LGBTQ+ community, one rooted in accompaniment, compassion, and a true understanding of human dignity. Technologically, the papacy of Leo XIV could usher in a new era of digital evangelization. Imagine a Vatican more accessible than ever before, harnessing the power of artificial intelligence, virtual reality, and online platforms to bring faith to the digital native generation. Virtual masses, interactive catechesis, real-time translation of global liturgies, these might all become part of the Church's renewed outreach. Under Leo XIV, the Vatican might finally embrace the full potential of modern communication without losing the sacredness of its mission. Yet even in this imagined future, Leo XIV would face profound challenges. The Church would still be navigating the aftershocks of past scandals, especially those involving clergy abuse and cover-ups. Healing this wound would require more than words. It would demand transparency, justice, and humility. Perhaps Leo XIV, understanding the damage inflicted upon generations, would institute sweeping reforms, independent oversight of abuse investigations, global safeguarding standards, and a commitment to survivor-led reconciliation efforts. He might also face resistance from within, a divided curia, ideological factions, and powerful traditionalists wary of reform. Like so many popes before him, Leo XIV would need to walk the tightrope between unity and progress, holding fast to the truths of the gospel while allowing the Spirit to breathe new life into an ancient institution. Ultimately, Pope Leo XIV's imagined reign invites us to ask deeper questions, not just about who the next pope might be, but about what kind of church we want to see in the decades to come. Do we seek a church that clings tightly to its past, or one that walks courageously into the future? Can we envision a papacy that redefines leadership, shifting from a throne of power to a seat of service? Whether he emerges in 5 years, 50 years, or never at all, Pope Leo XIV represents a compelling symbol, a vessel for our hopes, our fears, and our longing for a church that reflects the beauty and complexity of the world it serves. This is not prophecy. It is not prediction. It is a mirror, a reflection of the questions we must ask and the values we must choose together. The story of Leo XIV, though unwritten,